Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever really thought about what loneliness costs us? Dr. Vivek Murthy, the former U.S. Surgeon General, he once said something pretty shocking, that having weak social connections can shorten your life as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I mean, that's quite something, isn't it?
It really is. It makes you look at loneliness totally differently, not just, a feeling, but a serious health issue. Really shows how much we need connection.
Absolutely. So if it's that bad for us, why is loneliness still such a huge taboo? Why are we so afraid of it? And why do we often think that just being by ourselves means we're lonely, like it's something that needs fixing right away?
Yeah, it feels like we're sort of trained to think that way from a young age, like being alone automatically means something's wrong.
Exactly. And that's what we really want to unpack today. In this deep dive, we're going to be looking closely at Renuka Gavrani's book, The Art of Being Alone. Solitude is my home, loneliness was my cage. Our goal here is to really understand the difference, the big difference between loneliness and, well, true solitude, and then explore how you can actually turn that alone time into something powerful, for self-discovery, growth, even freedom. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Gavrani dives right into this this really deep fear many of us have of being seen as a weirdo if we're alone. She said it's almost like it's injected into us when we're kids.
Right.
Think about school, right? The kid eating alone, sitting alone, the one with supposedly no friends, they often get labeled, well, pathetic.
Yeah, that's a classic image.
She gives this specific example from her high school, huge class, 150 students, and there was this one girl, always alone, eating, sitting, even go to the washroom alone, and the label, weirdo, just like that.
And you see this everywhere in media, don't you? Movies, books. Lonely characters are often shown as weak or pitiful, maybe easy targets. It just feeds that fear we have of being seen as, unwanted or like we don't belong. It's more than just a personal feeling. It's baked into our culture.
Totally. And speaking of what's baked in, what about the voice inside our own heads? Because Gavrani points out something crucial. Often, the livest critic isn't out there. It's in here, inside you. That fear of what others might think, it often triggers this harsh self-judgment before anyone else even has an opinion.
That's such a great point. David Foster Wallace had that brilliant line, didn't he? You'll stop worrying what others think about you when you realize how seldom they do. It's kind of ironic, but yeah, your own mind can be your biggest hurdle. Gavrani talks about her own college days. She had a fight with friends, felt super lonely, worried everyone saw her as a loner. But later, she found out her classmates just thought she was really busy, having real fun organizing college events. The loneliness was totally her perception.
Wow. That really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How our internal story can be so different from reality.
Yeah.
And the digital world, oh boy, it just throws fuel on that fire.
Oh, definitely.
All the perfect friendship goals, the group trips, the constant fun plastered everywhere online.
Yeah.
It can make you feel uniquely alone, like you're failing if your life doesn't look like that filtered perfection.
And this is where Gavrani draws that really important line. Being alone is just, it's a physical state. Sometimes you're by yourself. It's part of life. But being lonely, that's internal. That's how you see yourself.
Right.
It's feeling insecure, feeling left out, thinking something's fundamentally wrong with you. It hits your self-respect. It's really about what you think of yourself, not who's physically around you.
So it's an emotional state, not just physical isolation. I love this reframe she uses. Actually, it's a Taylor Swift quote she mentions.
Oh, yeah.
The scary news is you are on your own now. But the cool news is you are on your own now.
That's perfect.
Right. It captures Gavrani's message so well. Being alone means you are with yourself.
Yeah.
Shifting from seeing it as a lack to seeing it as, well, an opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so if loneliness is internal, then tackling it means really embracing who you are.
Right.
Moving from hiding yourself to actually knowing and accepting yourself.
Exactly.
Gavrani says this hope that someone else will save us, plus that fear of seeming weird, it pushes us to act in ways that aren't really us. And that leads to what she calls the most painful and scariest thing, looking in the mirror, just not recognizing who's looking back.
That's powerful. And she argues that's the real root of loneliness. When you twist yourself into some acceptable version to fit in, you lose yourself. So loneliness isn't really about lacking other people. It's about not being able to find you inside yourself anymore. She talks very openly about her own past struggles with this, saying yes all the time, even when she didn't want to go out, talking when she was exhausted, dressing to please others, all while basically ignoring her own inner voice. She realized she was being this ideal version for others, but What about for herself?
That's a huge question. And it connects to self-love, but maybe not the way we usually think about it. She challenges that commercial idea.
Oh, definitely. Forget the expensive perfumes and fancy shampoos, she says.
Right.
For Gavrani, self-love is a two-step process, really practical. First, knowing yourself, like really understanding your nature, your thoughts, your personality. And second, accepting yourself, all of it, the good, the bad, the parts you think are ugly. Trying to hide that stuff just makes it darker, she says. She uses this interesting analogy about villains in stories. They show us that we all can be bad sometimes, not because we're evil, but because we're human, designed to feel a whole range of emotions. Our dark side is just part of the package.
So it's about acknowledging the whole picture.
Yeah. She gives her own example, accepting that she had a selfish trait, but then learning to use it constructively, like prioritizing her own happiness and career. And that actually brought her peace, made her relationships clearer.
Okay, so it's not about being perfect, it's about being whole. And she stresses this isn't a one-and-done thing, right? Knowing yourself.
Not at all. It's a lifelong journey because, as she puts it, we change rapidly. Who you are today isn't exactly who you'll be next year.
Which leads to a really practical step she suggests, coming face-to-face with your mind.
Right. When you're truly alone, it's just you and your thoughts. And let's be honest, that can feel like punishment at first. Gavrani shares her experience during COVID quarantine, realizing her mind just never stops, always generating worries, regrets, things she hadn't faced up to.
And that makes sense why people avoid it, right? We jump into bad relationships or binge Netflix for hours, or even find reasons to dislike being around anyone, anything to avoid that inner chatter.
Exactly, it's avoidance. But Gavrani insists there's real freedom in knowing yourself. She suggests these little meetups with your mind, just 10, 15 minutes a day, sit alone, read your thoughts like you'd read a book. No judgment, just observe, like being your own therapist.
Like observing without reacting.
Yeah, and through that, you realize something profound, she points out. The simple fact that you don't know yourself is the reason why you accept the bare minimum from people.
Wow, okay. Because if you don't know your own worth?
You can't expect others to see it or respect it. Spot on.
Okay, that's huge. And she offers another angle on self-discovery too, right? Focusing on what you aren't.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier to start there, defining what you don't like or who you definitely don't want to be. She suggests this quick daily exercise, like 5 minutes. List things you hate or disagree with, and importantly, ask yourself why.
Why the why?
Because that helps clarify your values, your principles, how you think. She used it in college to decide about drinking, knowing, I am not this and I never will. It helps set your internal boundaries.
Got it, okay. Now, she also tackles something, well, pretty tough. The idea that relationships don't last forever.
Yeah, she calls it a harsh truth. Nothing stays forever. People move, priorities change. That whole forever friends idea is often, more media fantasy than reality.
Oof, yeah.
She talks about her own experiences, losing close friends when schools changed, college friends drifting away as careers took off. It happens. Missing people is normal, of course, but accepting that this ebb and flow is just part of life, part of growing up, that's key.
So what's the takeaway from that?
The ultimate truth she lands on is, you are on your own now. Except for you, no one is going to stay by your side forever.
Right.
Which means you have to create enough space in your own heart for yourself. So being with yourself feels safe, feels loved. Then being with other people becomes a bonus, something lovely, not just an escape route from feeling empty inside.
Okay, that really shifts the perspective. Yeah. Which brings us right to the core idea, actively cultivating solitude. Not just enduring being alone, but choosing it.
Precisely. Gavrani makes that distinction crystal clear. Some people are alone because, well, they lack connections. But others practice being alone. They choose it to stay connected to themselves.
And it's not some new age idea, is it?
Yeah.
She points to history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So many great minds actively sought out solitude. It wasn't accidental. It was essential for their work.
Like who?
Well, think of Georgia O'Keeffe. She moved out to the New Mexico desert, finding a kind of freedom in being alone. Her art wasn't just about painting what she saw, but creating an equivalent for what I felt. Solitude fueled that. Or Nikola Tesla. He famously said, the mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born.
Wow. Secret of invention.
Even Van Gogh, who obviously struggled deeply with loneliness, found something in solitude. He wrote about finding calmness, pure harmony, and music inside me through his art, which often happened in isolation.
So solitude isn't emptiness. It's actually a source, a wellspring.
Exactly. And Gavrani connects this to our modern lives with this killer line: focus is a new luxury.
Ooh, I like that. It's true, isn't it?
Totally. In this age of constant distraction, real focus is rare. It's ironic people look for productivity hacks everywhere, but meanwhile, their attention is being sliced and diced by tech companies. Solitude, she argues, is the only way to get real with yourself again, to tune out the noise and hear your own thoughts.
Okay, so if solitude is the goal and focus is the prize,
Mm.
how do we actually do it? What are the practical steps?
Gavrani offers some really good ones. First, she says we need to digest, reflect, and reset. She compares our brains to our stomachs. Just like you can overeat food, you can overload your brain with information. We just consume, consume, consume.
Guilty is charged.
Right. We don't give our minds a break to actually digest any of it. So she suggests a daily brain detox. Filter out the junk, form your own opinions, question your beliefs, make space for your own ideas to surface.
Like mental housekeeping. Okay, what else?
Second, the art of getting bored. This sounds counterintuitive, maybe.
A little bit. We try so hard not to be bored.
Exactly. But Gavrani points out that many creative people say their best ideas pop up when they're not trying, when they're just spacing out or doing nothing. Constant busyness actually blocks creativity, so she encourages intentionally doing nothing. Treat it like meditation. Learn to just be with your mind without immediately reaching for your phone or some other cheap entertainment.
Resisting the urge to fill every second. That's tough.
It is, but it's powerful. And the third big step is learn to belong to yourself. She puts it beautifully. Knowing how to belong to yourself is an art in a world where everyone is finding their home in others.
Wow. Okay.
Her advice: create a rich inner life like a garden. Have diverse interests, hobbies, connections. Find joy and love from many sources, not just pinning all your hopes on one person or thing. That way, you approach relationships from a place of fullness, not neediness.
Okay, building that inner garden. So how do we make this alone time feel less like a chore and more like, well, growth?
Gavrani puts it bluntly: you are alone whether you like it or not, so why not like it?
Huh. Fair enough.
If you can't find a reason to like it, she says, then create one. Make your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, make them your best friends. Start seeing alone time as this amazing opportunity, a luxury even, a chance to seriously level up your life.
Okay, shifting the mindset. And that ties into planning your life, right? But not just any plan.
Exactly. Building your dream life plan. And she really pushes back against those generic ideas of success society feeds us, the big house, the fancy car. She asks, if all of us are different, then how can our dream life look exactly the same? Good question.
It really is.
So her challenge is, define success for yourself. Learn to define your definition of everything. Don't just copy what you think everyone else wants or has. You have to, as she says, switch on the button of your brain, look inside, and figure out what your soul actually wants. Become the owner of your own life.
Okay, define your own terms. Love that. So once you have a sense of that, how do you make it happen? She has an action plan, right?
Yes, a really clear 3-step action plan for transformation. Step 1, identify one big issue. What's the single biggest thing dragging you down right now, causing anxiety? She uses her own example of a toxic job affecting her mental health. Be brutally honest with yourself here. Just one thing.
One thing. Okay, then what?
Step 2, for that one issue, define one big action. A single, clear, daily action goal, something manageable. Her example was write one article every day to move towards a new career. It's not about overwhelming yourself. It's about consistent, focused action on that one key thing.
Makes sense. Small steps, big impact over time. And step 3.
Step 3, know your nature and sync your activities. This is crucial. Don't just copy someone else's routine. That leads to burnout. Figure out your own rhythms. Are you a morning person, a night owl? When do you feel most productive or creative?
Right, like she realized she's a night owl.
Exactly. So she writes or exercises then, not when some guru says she should. The idea is to make the process fit you, make it feel, well, fun or at least sustainable, not like torture.
Right. Work with your nature, not against it. Okay, so the ultimate goal, she says, is to make your alone time addictive.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. Think about people whose company you genuinely love. There's something compelling about them, right? Their presence is enriching, almost addictive, Gavrani says. Apply that same principle to your relationship with yourself. Make your own company that compelling.
Okay. Intriguing. How?
First, create multiple sources of joy. Dig up those old hobbies you loved as a kid but dropped. Find small things every day that bring you genuine happiness. She talks about the simple joy she found in just taking evening walks in her hometown, noticing details, escaping the pressure. Intentionally craft a joyful life, moment by moment.
Finding joy in the small things. I like that.
What else? Second, learn something new. Kick that "I don't have time" excuse to the curb. It's never been easier to learn stuff for free online. She learned crocheting from YouTube. It brought excitement, a sense of growth, even sparked new ideas for her. Pick something, anything, that interests you.
Okay, keep learning, keep growing. Makes sense.
Third, feed your brain with knowledge. And she really tackles this weird societal thing where studying is boring or readers are geeks.
Yeah, where did that come from?
She argues it's designed to keep people passive, as followers, not leaders. It stops us from thinking critically, from forming our own ideas. She herself went from hating books to reading over 200 after college, finding incredible wisdom and guidance. Read widely, she says, self-help, history, fiction, whatever. It builds mental strength, understanding, growth.
Okay, so joy, learning, knowledge. What's the final piece for making alone time addictive and becoming independent?
The final, perhaps biggest step. Do it for yourself. Face the reality. No one else is going to magically fulfill your desires or build your dream life for you. So the ultimate move, do the things that you wanted to do with others, but do them with yourself.
Like get yourself on a date?
Exactly. Plan a nice dinner for yourself. Go out for coffee alone. Take those pictures you wanted someone else to take of you, for you. Basically, romance yourself. Acknowledge what you desire, and then make the effort to give it to yourself. Maybe even better than you imagined someone else could.
So the mantra is something like, romanticize the actions that you take for yourself.
Acknowledge your desires and turn them into something better than your imagination. It's all about making an effort for yourself. That's it.
Wow.
And she wraps it up with that brilliant metaphor. The world is like a big dinner party where you are supposed to serve yourself.
Don't wait around starving for someone else to bring you a plate.
Exactly. Learn to serve yourself first and make it a feast.
What a powerful way to think about it. So just to recap, we've really dug into how society messes with our heads about being alone, how our own self-talk often makes it worse, but also how we can completely flip the script, how to turn that alone time into genuine solitude, something rich, creative, purposeful.
Yeah, you really do have a kind of blueprint now for building that strong relationship with yourself, knowing yourself better, growing as a person, and really carving out your own path.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on that dinner party idea. If life is this party where you serve yourself, what's that one amazing dish, maybe a dream you've put off, a skill you want to learn, a joyful habit you crave? What's that one thing you've been kind of waiting for someone else to serve you? And how could you start preparing it for yourself starting today?